Hi guys, it's Laura, and today for you guys I have a 5-book review. I also wanted to say thank you guys, all of you guys, for subscribing. I have just reached 100 subscribers, which I mentioned at the end of my last video, and I really wanted to thank you guys because it means a lot to me that people enjoy my videos, because it makes my time worthwhile making them, and it means that it sort of spurs me on to make more videos. To hear that 100 people want to hear me ramble about nothingness it's astonishing. I really hope that you guys want to stay with me in the long run, and thank you for all your support, really. So instead of me rambling on about ramblingness, I'm going to get on with the video because we want to talk about the books. So let's get away. The first set of books I read in the past few weeks was Jackson Pear's Sisters Red and Sweetly. Now, I think there are 4 books in the fairy tale retelling series, but I think the 2 other books are not interlinked with these. If I'm right, I'm not entirely sure, so I'm considering these as a duology at the present, but if I'm not right, let me know. Sisters Red is the first one and Sweetly is the second one, whereas I read Sweetly first and Sisters Red second, and I'm really glad I did. It made a much more impact when reading Sweetly. I think if I read Sisters Red first, it would have kind of ruined Sweetly for me. So I'm going to talk about Sweetly first, as that's the first book I read. Sweetly follows the storyline of Ansel and Gretchen. It's a Hansel and Gretel retelling, if you can tell. And they move to a new town, escaping their old life, and they meet someone called Sophia, and they live with her for a while. And there's a whole mystery surrounding Sophia. The town kind of is a bit eerie with her, and they tend to have a love and hate relationship with her. And Sophia runs a lovely sweet shop that makes you very hungry and want sweets and chocolate. And yeah, so there's this whole mystery surrounding Sophia and the area and suspicions. It was a very good book. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the first books I read after uni, so it was very good to relax into this book. But it was kind of scary, I have to admit. I mean, I know there's a lot of scary books out there, and this is probably quite weak in scary terms, but when you're reading it at 3 o'clock in the morning and you've got these glaring eyes coming out the forest at you, you kind of get a bit freaked out and scared. But it was really good, and there's a lot of enticement. It makes you want to read on. You want to find out what is going on and what these things are and the relation to Sophia, and I really, really enjoyed it. The ending kind of shocked me. I wasn't expecting the ending, unlike Sisters Red, where I kind of did. I really enjoyed the ending, but it made me cry like anything. I was there going, why can we not have a happy ending? This is a book that focuses on family, friends, secrets, and if you like fairy tale retellings or supernatural or just chocolate, I think you'll really enjoy this book, and I really recommend it. I think I gave it 4 stars, if I can remember. 4 stars. The next book was Sisters Red. Now, I read this secondly, as I said, and the difference between the 2 books is this goes straight into what the mystery is, whereas the other book, Sweetly, you have a lot of suspense. So I would really recommend Read Sweetly before Sisters Red. Sisters Red follows the journey of 2 sisters called Scarlet and Rosie. Scarlet and Rosie fight these creatures called the Fenris, and they're pretty much werewolves. It starts off at the beginning with a backstory where their grandma, Oma March, is murdered by a Fenris, and Scarlet protects her sister Rosie from being attacked from a Fenris, and she ends up scarred for life. And it's about their journey, and they try and kill off the Fenris. Then there's this whole thing where there's different packs of the Fenris, and they realise that something's going on, and so they move to a city where they try and attack and kill as many Fenrises as possible. The only problem is that's not the reason why the Fenris are about. So they are looking for a new chosen one. It goes along the journey of sisterhood and family and friendship and love. This book made me scream, it made me cry, it made me laugh. I was outraged at parts of this. If you look at my comments on Goodreads, I was literally screaming at this book. When you get to that part, it's just like, no, just don't. Really? I'm not going to spoil it for you because I want you to feel the emotions firsthand. That's why. The ending. Now, I liked Sweetly probably better than Sisters Red because the ending I found was a complete cop-out. Trying to not spoil it is difficult. I felt the ending was pretty much make it a happy ending, whereas Sweetly was we're gonna not make a happy ending. Sisters Red was happy ending. I guess that's probably why I like Sisters. Even though I complained about Sweetly's unhappy ending, I liked the ending better because this was just a cop-out and I could see some of the storyline as I went along and it just irritated me because I was just like, I wanted a bit more suspense and mystery because that's what I expected from Sweetly, but I didn't get it in this one. I kind of knew the storyline as I went along and the cop-out ending kind of ruined it for me. Character-wise, Scarlet is quite an annoying character. She wound me up and I wanted to punch her sometimes really badly and like, come on, just punch you. But the characters were well written and I really enjoyed the story in general. So yeah, that is Sisters Red. I would really recommend the 2 books, but obviously read Sweetly first, please, and then Sisters Red. I recommend them, obviously, for people who like fairy tale retellings, supernaturalness, and likes family and friendship, secrets and love, all that sort of thing entwined in 2 really pretty books. The next set of books I read was a duology, and that is Breathe and Resist by Sarah Crossan. Now, Breathe is the first one and Resist the second one. I love these covers. I'll show you them up close. I just think they're really cool. Now, I read Breathe January last year and Resist came out autumn 2013, and I've only just got round to finishing the series, rereading this one and then finishing that one. This tells a story of a world where oxygen is basically gone. A small proportion of selected people live in this thing called the pod, where oxygen is pumped in so people can survive, but the oxygen that's pumped in is too much and they make believe that people can't live in the outside world, and it's a dystopia, as you can tell, and I really love the concept of these books. We'll start with Breathe first, and Breathe follows the storyline of 3 main characters, Bee, Quinn and Alina. Bee is an auxiliary. She is considered in as one of the lower classes, 3 different classes, and it basically looks at class in that sense, and the lower classes, the auxiliaries, have less oxygen and they can't enjoy life as much because they have to live on such low oxygen. Quinn is a premium. These 2 are going on holiday, they're going on a camping trip outside the pod. You are allowed to go outside the pod, you have to take breathing apparatus, and you can go as little trips and educational trips. And when they leave, they meet a character called Alina, and Alina is part of the rebels, basically, and they're fighting to bring back the trees and to bring back the world that had been destroyed, and they help her escape the pod, basically. They were just going to leave her, but they go and follow her, and they go on this journey to find basically the resistance and find out now how corrupt the actual pod is, and it's a war basically between the resistance and the pod ministers. This book is amazing. I really enjoyed it. It's not the best plot line, I have to say, but for me it meant so much to me as a person who cares about the environment a lot. It was as good as the first time I read it. You can really imagine things like this happening, and I like storylines like that where they're not too far off from our future. and you can see the decline of human race. There's multiple viewpoints, there's 3 multiple viewpoints in this story, and it works really well as you wouldn't understand the storyline as well if it was just from one point. It all has a lot of action in it, and romance, and friendship, and family. And it's a really good book, and it follows a lot of elements, and I'd really recommend it. The second book I read, Resist. Resist kind of let me down a bit. I kind of wish he did a trilogy with these two, because too much was packed into this, and it needed more. There needed to be more, and there wasn't. This one sees the follow-on, and a lot of drama happens, and this introduces another character called Ronan, who is the Porter minister's son, and it follows the storyline of this book, but further, and adding more characters and institutes and things, and I'm trying not to spoil it. The ending was too quick with this one though. There's so many questions left though unanswered, and it should have really been spread across another, as I said. One of the issues I had with this book is there was a couple of plot errors, and it was so careless that I just wanted to scream at the book. About 120 pages in, there's a character introduced who meets another character, and in the thought process he says her name, but he isn't introduced to her and isn't given her name until 2 pages later. And when I first read it, I was really irritated by it, because I was like, how does he know her name? Like, he hasn't been told her name. And it would have been fine, like, if they left it like that, but then 2 pages later, they went, hi, my name is this, and I was just like, really? Really? You're just going to irritate me if you do that. Like, it's a basic plot error that should have been sorted out in editing, and it doesn't ruin the whole entire book, but it just irritates me. Do you know what I mean? I did love the book in general. I love the story and the ideas in it, and it could have been made better. There could have been more to it. The characters, I laughed and I teared up throughout this book. Maud, the character in this, who's in the previous book, makes me laugh so much, and I really love her as a character. Jazz, who's one of the smaller child, she's about 9. At first, in the first book, you kind of get annoyed with her, and she's a bit of a spoilt child, really. But then I kind of loved her as a character, and she kind of made me smile a bit and made the story really nice and added to the story really well. So these 2 books, I really recommend you read Breathe. Resist, I recommend you read it, but don't expect too much from it, because I was really disappointed. I really wanted a good ending. I would recommend it, but I'm not entirely sure. I really enjoyed it myself, but I know there is a lot of bad reviews out there, so I think you're going to have to find out for yourself whether it's your type of book or not, really. So that's them 2 books, and on to the next one. The next book I read and I finished it in one day, and that was Trouble by Non Pratt. I'm in love with this book. It's amazing, and I was really scared it wouldn't live up to its reputation, but it so did, and I literally couldn't put this down. This book was well written, and it has multiple viewpoints, and it kind of shocked me, the multiple viewpoints, because whereas other books I've read, the multiple viewpoints are more like chapters, these are small extracts of multiple viewpoints of the 2 main characters. And at first I wasn't sure about it, but as I got into it, I got used to it, and I really enjoyed having the 2 different viewpoints interlinked between them. I've read a lot of teen pregnancy books, and I have enjoyed a lot of them, but I was really worried this one would just be another one on the shelf, and it wasn't really. It surprised me. I had all my emotions going everywhere in this book. I really felt right in the world. It's so realistic, and like a lot of books I read, I feel like a bit more like an outsider, whereas this one I felt right in the world, and I felt I could see everything around me, and it is very realistic. It gives a realistic viewpoint of pregnancy. It doesn't pretend that being a teenager and being pregnant is going to be fine and easy. It shows you how it's going to affect the entire family and your friends around you. The only problem was this, I wanted more. when you get a good book, you can tell it's a good book because you always want it more. But this is a bit different to the other books I've just shown you, because the other books I wanted more and that made it a bad book, whereas this was a good book, so I wanted more of it because it was good. If that makes any sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wanted more because I wanted to know what happened after she gave birth. This only follows her up until she gives birth, and I wanted that bit afterwards. You get right from the beginning that she is good with children and with her little sister Lucy. I think it's Lucy. No, Lola. Lola. Lola's lovely. I love her as a character and she's beautiful. But you see she's good with children, but you want to see the aftermath, because right at the end of the story you see like this big blow up with her family and it doesn't actually get resolved, and you want to know what happens, and you get so entwined with these characters' lives that you need to know more. I want another book, but I don't think there's going to be another one, but I want another one, okay? I really did like Hannah as a character, the main character who gets pregnant, but she's presented as a 3D character. She can be really irritating. You want to slap her sometimes and go, what the hell are you doing? But there's part of it that makes her good. Non Pratt presents her as a character that isn't perfect. She's flawed, and you kind of like her for that. The next part I want to talk about is the daddy plot. There's a question to who the daddy really is, and I kind of guessed it, and that irritated me because I could see in my line, I was like, no. It kind of angered me who the dad was, because it just emphasised how stupid Hannah was. And one of the things I've noticed in a review is they comment on the fact that at the back of the cover it says, Hannah is smart and funny. I am very doubtful about the smart bit. Throughout the novel you don't see her being very clever at all, and you see her making a lot of stupid mistakes that you just want to slap her for. But I saw it and it kind of annoyed me, but I got over it and just wanted to continue with the storyline. The storyline itself follows a girl called Hannah who ends up pregnant at 15, and it also follows the character of Aaron. Aaron has just moved to the school that Hannah's at, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding his past, and he has a bad past which we don't learn about until about halfway through the book. Aaron goes ahead and he volunteers to be the father figure for Hannah. There's a lot of emotions within this book. There's a lot of family characters. You see every generation of a family, and it's just beautiful, and I really, really recommend this book. I love it to pieces, and I can't explain how much I love this without just saying I love it. Read it. Read it! So that is my 5-book book review for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed learning a bit more about the books rather than me just saying I liked it. So I really recommend read all of these books. I'd recommend Trouble the most. So I really hope you enjoyed my video, and there'll be some more videos to come. So that's the end of my video, and good night. It's not even night, but good night.